The first question today is, all experiences are non-dual. Any experience in life. This non-dual experience in life is called nameless experience, because experience has to be non-dual. There's Brahman only is there, consciousness only is there. So let us understand the concept of nameless experience. In any experience, there is a subject and an object. Experiencer and experienced and experiencing. This is called Triputi. Threefold division is there in any experience. All experiences have threefold division. So now there are some experiences in life where there's no threefold division. Triputi is not there. Let us take example of deep sleep. In deep sleep, there's no experiencer, there's no experienced, there's no experiencing. But when we wake up, we say, I had a blissful sleep. We give a name to that. So experience, nameless experience, we give a name. Any experience can have two parts. One is nameless part and naming part. In the nameless experience part, there's no experiencer, experienced, or experiencing. The threefold division is missing. But after the experience is over, we can give a name to that. That's called naming. So any experience we say nameless experience followed by naming. The naming brings the concept of subject, object, and experience. Let us take the deep sleep example. From the deep sleep example, there is no experiencer there. In deep sleep, nobody says, I'm experiencing something. There's no subject called me. There's no object called world. There is nobody to say there's experience is happening. There's absence of everything. The deep sleep, one who is in deep sleep cannot say anything. But when he wakes up, he says, I had a blissful sleep. There is a name given to experience of sleep. What is the name given? Blissful, Anandamaya, Ananda sleep. But deep sleep, person in deep sleep itself does not speak of any experience, does not recognize any experience. Then waking state person who was not there in deep sleep, he will come back. So waking state person, when you wake up, the body appears, the mind appears, and the world appears. In deep sleep, was that person there? The body, mind, and world, nothing was there. The experiencer was absent in deep sleep, but there's a claimer. Somebody claims that I experienced deep sleep, comes up in the morning. Understand? The experiencer comes up after the experience. And in reality, the one who comes and claims the experience was not there. Take your own example. You go to sleep. In the sleep, you don't experience the body, mind, and the world. You means the one who is sleeping. What you experience? Nothing. You want to say nothing is experienced, that nobody is there to say nothing is experiencing. Then what was there in deep sleep? Your deep sleep? Consciousness was experiencing consciousness. A non-dual experience was there. Consciousness experiencing consciousness. The consciousness experiencing consciousness is called bliss, Ananda. Consciousness experiencing consciousness is Ananda, means infinite. That experience cannot be named by the experiencer because there's no experiencer. It's a nameless experience, and consciousness is experiencing itself. That's called pure experience because there's no object to experience. It's called pure because there are no objects to experience. There's no subject-object duality. But the moment you wake up, the me comes up, a body-mind complex, and the world appears. The me, there's the ego comes up, identifies with the body and mind, and says, I only slept. This waker claims that he slept. My dear waker, was your body there in the deep sleep? Was your mind there in the deep sleep? No. Then still he claims. And he says, the blissful experience as deep sleep, I only had. See, he claims it, but he was not there. The waker, body. The waker, person was not there in deep sleep. So experience, we can say two things. Experience, which is non-dual, where consciousness is experiencing itself. Because there are no objects, I call that's a pure experience. And that experience is called as a blissful experience by the waker. Called. Are we clear? So the called is a naming process. So the person who wakes up, the ego comes up. He says, I woke up. I slept. Where was that I? There was not I. Was that I? The me was not there in deep sleep. From deep sleep was person's experience, not from the outsiders. Outsiders said this person is sleeping. From deep sleep person's experience, there's no body, there's no mind, there's no person. So the claimer is false, claiming that I slept. The claimer is a false claim that I slept and I had a blissful sleep. The name blissful or Ananda also is given by the claimer. The deep sleeper does not give a name for that. It's a pure nameless experience. Deep sleep. So the waker's claim is false because he was not there. And waker thinks he slept. Illusion. Illusion that waker slept. So the illusion is one part. Then false claim is another part. These both are done by the ego. Then who was in deep sleep? We have to give an explanation to the waker. My dear waker, were you there in deep sleep? No. Was your body there in deep sleep? No. Was your mind there in deep sleep? No. Was your personhood is there in the deep sleep? No. Then how do you know that you had a blissful experience? We'll ask the question. When there's no experiencer, how that is recorded as experience? In our memory, everything is recorded as an event, a thought. So before I go to the bed at 7 o'clock, the mind records. There is a record in the mind memory. At 7 o'clock, I go to the bed. So then I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. In between, what is the record is there? In between, there is no event recorded there. There is no thoughts recorded there. But there is a record in the running in the memory. That's called abhavadnana. Bhavadnana means presence of something. Abhavadnana means presence, absence of something. Abhava means absence. So our mind has two capabilities. Bhavadnana and abhavadnana. So if you go to a room, what is there? There is a chair there. Chair is called bhavadnana. Who is sitting in chair? Nobody is sitting in the chair. Abhavadnana. So memory recording is of two types. Bhavadnana and abhavadnana recording happens. Memory recording. It's like a tape recorder when you switch on. The sound is recorded, silence is recorded in the running memory. Very clear? So our mind has a capability of recording two things, bhavadnana and abhavadnana. For example, you say, I went into the room, nothing was there. Nothing was there is called abhavadnana. Chair was there is called bhavadnana. Presence and absence can be recorded in memory. In deep sleep, abhavadnana is recorded. Nothing is there in memory. Nothing is there. It's called abhava jnana. A jnana is recorded. So now abhava jnana, for experiencing anything, there should be conscious experiencer. Okay, there's no conscious experiencer in deep sleep. We know that. But then say there is a presence of consciousness. There's an illumination of abhava jnana. That illumination of abhava jnana is Atma or I or Sakshi. There's illumination, but there's no experiencer. The Sakshi illuminates abhava jnana. Sakshi illuminates nothingness, absence. In the waking state, the same Sakshi continues, illuminates the presence. It's called bhava jnana. So Sakshi is present in abhava and bhava. So abhava is called Vyatireka and bhava is called Anvaya. There's a continuity of consciousness in presence and absence. That consciousness is called Sakshi, witness. So what is memory doing? Memory recorded 2 events. I went to sleep at 7 o'clock, got up at 8 o'clock in the morning. 2 events are recorded. In between 2 events, what is recorded? Abhava jnana, absence of anything is recorded. Absence of anything. There are no objects. There's no subject also is recorded. Abhava jnana. So now, the waking state personality comes up. He uses the memory record. Memory record is common. The memory record says, I slept at 7 o'clock. I slept at 8 o'clock. Got up at 8 o'clock. There's an absence there. In absence, there is no stress and it's peaceful and blissful because stress also is recorded. Peace and bliss is no recording. Abhava. So then he claims that I had a blissful sleep based on the memory record. Of course, it's his own experience. Now the problem is the experiencer is not the waking state personality. In the waking state also, the Sakshi illuminated continues. The experience is real. Abhava experience is real. It's not imagined. For a waking state person, abhava experience is imagined experience. But the person the one who experienced it or one who saw that, Sakshi, is not, it's not imagined experience. The Sakshi identifying the body and mind, or body and mind gets superimposed to Sakshi, that becomes the person who speaks. One who is present in both states only can speak. The one who is present in the both states is not the body and mind, the personality, but the witness which is present in both the states. The witness identifying with the body and mind in the form of reflected conscious Chidabhasa says, I had a good sleep, which is saying truth only, because witness has seen it. So who is the experiencer? There's no experiencer, but the witness of the experiencer is then deep sleep. That's called Sakshi. He makes a claim. Nothing was there. There are 2 events. But the claim comes from an ego, a personhood, which is false. So we split the experience into 2. A named experience of pure experience of sleep, which is blissful, ananda, and an experience of naming. In naming anything, what is it true? Nothing is true in naming. Whatever you named is true, because the waker has not experienced deep sleep. Waker does not know what is there in deep sleep. Waker was absent in deep sleep, but he still claims. How true is his claim? It's false. It's an illusion, not reality. So the waker has an illusion that he has slept. In reality, was not there. Only Sakshi or witness was there in both states. But witness, when it claims, along with Chidabhasa, witness is called Atma, Chidabhasa is called Jiva. Jivatma has forgotten that I didn't have body in deep sleep. Because the body and mind superimposes on the Sakshi, Jivatma. So there's a forgetfulness and a false claim. So this is what happens in deep sleep experience. So there's nobody to superimpose on the Sakshi in sleep. Sakshi is just eliminating in deep sleep. The superimposition happens in the waking state. Are we clear? So now this is the deep sleep experience. Now let us take the experience of a child. For the child, every experience is no name experience, nameless experience. To name, give a name, the mind has to develop. So a child, child hears a sound, sound. The child does not separate itself from the sound. There's one experience, one holistic experience happens. One total experience happens for the child. So child, all experiences are nameless experience until the mind starts developing, naming starts developing. Once the names child says, oh, I am experiencing, this is the sound. The child's experience is nameless experience. In nameless experience, there's no duality. The duality is there only when the naming is there. Separation of subject and object. The child's experience is nameless, non-dual. Non-dual. So that non-dual experience, nameless, we call it nameless experience. I don't want to call it as pure experience. The pure experience, I only give the name to sleep state because there are no objects there. The child experiences the objects. There's objects from the people, from a mother point of view, the child is experiencing sound. But from child point of view, there are no objects because there's no naming. So this experience, I want to just call it nameless experience. I don't want to call it pure experience. Child's experience is pure nameless experience. Are we clear? But the child, mother starts calling child Chinna, Putta, starts giving a name to the child. Child separates itself. Oh, I am separate. I am body. So this is the experience. Then what happens? The nameless experience gets split into three parts. Myself, experience, and experience object. This is what happens for the child. So now the child is able to identify subject, object, experience in the world. It's called Triputi. Threefold division is there for the child. Now, is this threefold division real? This threefold division is not real. Going back to deep sleep experience. Deep sleep experience, the experience was not there. Objects were not there. Experiencing was not there. But there was a claimer who came after the experiencing to naming. His job is naming. The claimer came after the experience. So this claimer is like this. There's a big bridge inaugurated, a huge bridge, the first in the country. The minister comes and inaugurates the bridge, cuts the tape. We did this bridge, he'll say. Where is that we? Nobody was there. He didn't do the bridge. The people constructed the bridge are not there. There's a claimer. Minister comes and says, I only did the bridge. The false claim. Understand? The false claimer always comes after the experience, not during the experience. Even in case of child, as it becomes adult, all our experiences are done by a false claimer. Is this clear? Jhoota ho tum. One who says, one opens his mouth will tell the lies. The lie is, in any experience, which is a nameless experience, we are not there. But the we, what I call as we, ego, comes and claims the experience, claimer. So whatever we say about our experience in life is false. This happens in every experience. So a child experience is clear. Let us take the adult experience. So there's an apple. I eat the apple. So there's a subject, object. Eating me is subject and experience of object. There are threefold divisions in experience in the adult case. But are there really threefold experience? When the experiencing happening, the apple has gone to mouth, the subject has become one with the object, then there's no separation between the subject and object. There's only experiencing is there. In case of apple eating, the taste is there. In the taste, subject and object both are there. So out of threefold division, only one remains. Tasting only remains. Right? But immediately the mind comes awake and says, this is apple, this is tasting, and I am the taster. Threefold division happens, mind comes up. But then the tasting has stopped, experiencing has stopped, because experiencer has come now. When the experiencer comes, experiencing stops. The mind experience gets cut off. The ego comes up, the experience is stopped. Experiencer without the experience without the experiencer is eating apple. That experience can happen in 5 senses: hearing, touching, smelling, tasting. There's no experiencer, but experience happens when subject and object come together. You can understand more easily in a music. Music hearing is happening. The raga is so beautiful. I forget the musician. I forget myself. Only music remains. Experiencing remains. That happens in anything. Subject is forgotten. Object is forgotten. Only experience remains. The nameless experience, only experience goes on. Hearing, touching, sound, and smell. Is that clear? So this nameless experience is named as subject, object, and experiencing. That's called Triputi. Triputi is Gnatra, Jnaya, Jnana. Knower, to be known, object to be known, and knowledge. And this is not real at all. It happens post-experience. Where? The naming. When the experience of apple is happening, experience alone is there. Then the mind comes and says, this is apple, I'm the subject, and this is the experience. The threefold division happens, naming happens. During experience, there's no naming. The post-experience, there's a naming happens. Threefold division, Triputi comes up. Are you clear? So Triputi is not real because naming, the one who experienced the naming was not there. That's called ego. Now ego does and comes and names like this. Okay. Ego goes to the memory, fetches the photo, there's the image of this apple, takes apple image and my image. My image is I'm so and so year old. That image is taken. My image is taken, not the me, real me. Apple's image is taken. Nama and Rupa are taken, and Nama and Rupa is claimed as experience. Triputi is based on Nama and Rupa, name and form. So, deep sleep, pure experience. In deep sleep, there are no objects. In the waking state, there's a presence of objects, appearance of objects. That's why I want to say waking state experience. I don't want to call it pure experience. I will call it nameless experience. But naming brings the separation. In the experience itself, there's no separation. So, experience without separation is called non-dual experience. Okay. Now, there's a difference between the deep sleep experience and waking state experience. In deep sleep experience, there's no subject and object. We know that there's no subject and object because abhava jnana is there. In waking state experience, there's subject and object, bhava jnana is there. Okay. But in reality, when you're experiencing, there's no subject and object. In reality, when there's no subject and object experience is there, object is there, that experience is called happiness. Happiness is a limited form of ananda. Ananda means ananta. Deep sleep experience is boundless because no objects. In the waking state, experience is nameless experience, but bounded, and that's why bounded by the concept of object. That's why it's called happiness, santosha, sukha. Deep sleep experience is called ananda or bliss. Deep sleep experience, there's no subject and objects. Objects are absent itself, subject also absent. In the waking state, the subject and object become one in the experience. So that's why waking state experience I call as non-dual, but nameless experience. And that experience I call as happiness. So consciousness experiencing itself, consciousness is infinite. Infinite experience itself is called ananda. Ananda means infinity. Consciousness experiencing itself with the limitation of concept or limitation of subject and object, that I call as happiness. No, don't take. Subject and object become one in waking state. Consciousness alone exists. Consciousness as a concept of subject and object. In the waking state, there's a concept of subject and object. The subject and object become one. That oneness experience is, there are no two. In deep sleep, there are no two, no subject and object, non-dual. In the waking state, there are two, but they became one. The subject and object became one. And that experience, also non-dual, but I would call it as oneness experience, experience of oneness. Two became one. Apple, when it went to mouth, the taste of the apple only remained. There's no subject and object, but oneness remained. The experience of oneness remained. Okay. So I will give a slight different name for deep sleep experience and waking state experience. Deep sleep experience I call as non-dual because there's no other. There's no subject and object, other are not there. In the waking state object, subject and object became one. So deep sleep experience I call as pure experience, pure non-dual experience. Waking state experience I call as oneness experience, nameless experience. Okay. The ego comes and claims that oneness experience, splits the oneness experience into three: subject, object, and experience. It gives a name, apple. It gives eating of the apple, taste, nice, good taste, and it calls as subject. And this is purely memory based. It is not based on the experience itself. The memory or fetching from the memory cuts the experience. The naming, experience is to stop and go to the memory and fetch it. It happens so fast we can't recognize it. Because the mind can do one function at a time. It cannot do two functions. Mind can experience something or go to memory and come back. It cannot do two things. So the mind, I give an example of a Mani in the hotel. Earlier days, there used to be server. Server name is called Mani. The customer comes to the hotel. Mani comes with a pencil in here. Sir, what do you want? Masala dosa, idli dosa, rava dosa, chutney dosa, sambar, sambar, he'll say. The customer will say, give me one masala dosa. Mani says, yes, sir. And he'll go inside. He is the cook. He'll cook, put the dosa and come back. Okay. Then, sir, the dosa is here. He serves. Then, Mani goes and sits as a cashier. So the customer will go and pay the money to the cashier. So the same Mani receives the order, does the cooking, and becomes the order fetcher, the money collector. Only one guy is there doing all the three. Similarly, one consciousness plays three roles separately. As it experiences. Then it cannot play the role of memory recording simultaneously. It will record in the memory. It goes to chitta. Then experience is cut. The Mani is no longer a Mani when he goes to cooking. He does one task at a time. But they do it so fast, you don't know. We think it is a seamless experience. The seamless experience is cut here like this. Experience, naming, experience. naming. Understand? And naming cuts the experience, because while doing naming, the different function is performed by the same consciousness. So mind has no four parts. Mind has four functions of consciousness. Manas, buddhi, ahankara, chitta are four different functions. As manas, it experiences something. As ahankara, it claims the experience. As chitta, it fetches from memory. As buddhi, it decides something. These are four functioning of antakarana. Who functions? Consciousness. Are you clear? So naming is nitya, unreal, because naming is not based on the experience which is happening now. Experience which is happening now in the real time. It's called present moment experience happening. But naming is done by the past experience. Past experience is called apple. Past experience is called me. The ego comes up. Ego is always a product of past and future. So tomorrow I'll eat apple. So this is the concept of ego. Ego is not there in the present moment at all. In present moment, what is there? Only consciousness is there. Are we clear? So now, all claiming of experience is illusion, because it is a superimposition of the past on the current moment. So you understand the distinction between deep sleep and waking state experience. Deep sleep experience is non-dual, Advaita. Objects are not there. Pure experience. Pure because objects are not there. In waking state, objects are there. Again, it's a concept of the mind. There's no real objects. There's oneness experience and nameless experience. But ego claims I am the experiencer both in both the cases post experience. All claims of ego are false. Child has a nameless experience, oneness experience, but there's no naming at all after that. Okay. So now let me come back to the deep sleep experience. Is called Ananda. Consciousness experience itself. Consciousness, no objects are there. That's called Ananda or bliss. The child's experience also is consciousness experience itself in the form of objects. Child does not know its objects. Mother knows its object. That's why I call this nameless experience. Child's point of view, the deep sleep experience is also the waking state experience. From child point of view, because child does not have a concept of objects. But for our sake, our convenience, we say it's oneness experience. Because we are not the child. Child experience non-dual only. Bliss only. The child is always blissful. But for a mother's point of view, it's a oneness experience. Adult experience also, oneness experience, which is nameless. Naming is done. All naming is false. That's why Triputi is false. Threefold division is false. No, then you'll say, no, there's no threefold division. At least one is there, no. Apple is there, eating is there, there's a tasting is there, experiencing is there. Experiencer is not there, I agree. Experience is the past memory. Experiencing is there. That I agree. In consciousness, experiences rise and experience falls. Like wave rises in ocean and falls. Wave rises and falls in ocean. Right? So now, wave is not Satya, wave is Mithya. Water is Satya. Water only is appeared as wave. Similarly, subject and object is Mithya. Existence, consciousness appeared as subject and object. Appeared as, like water appears as wave. So what is the name? What is the name Mithya given? The temporary reality, which is actually appearance, is called Mithya. The water appeared as a wave is Mithya. Mithya means the wave has no independent existence. Wave is a dependent existence on water. Gold appears as necklace If I go to shopkeeper and say, give me one necklace, he cannot give because gold is required. Gold appeared as necklace. Gold is the independent reality and necklace is the dependent reality. So similarly, Brahman is the independent reality. The world of subject and object is a dependent reality. Dependent reality has no existence of its own. It's a temporary appearance. So the temporary appearance is called mithya. But the temporary appearance, one more level of superimposition happens on the temporary appearance. The mind superimposes name and form also. The name, the form comes from the sense organs. What is out there is energy, a flow of energy. That flow of energy, our eyes can recognize only part of the energy. One small part of the energy. Because our eyes have limited capability. That energy appears as a flower or fruit to our, because of limitation of sense organs. So we think that there's a fruit available. It's an energy form available. For a bird, it looks different. For a human being, it looks different. For a bat, it looks different. For a serpent, it looks different. Because their sense organs are different. We take for granted that there's an apple called object. That apple called object called apple, appears as different things to different beings based on their sense organs. It's not same appearance. Understand? So finally, we identify a form there. The form is not what you see, because energy is infinite. Energy is everywhere. That infinite made into finite, and the energy is nothing but Brahman only. The infinite is made finite by the sense organs and given a name. And mind comes and gives a name, flower, to that object and records it in memory. But now, the moment it's recorded in memory, a flowing energy, you take a snapshot and record it. Now, is it real? A movie is continuously going on. Out of that one scene you take and say, this is what it is. It is false. So, apple, what I saw yesterday, a different apple. What I see apple now, they are different. They have different forms, different smells, different tastes. But I recall from memory, same old apple which I recorded yesterday. All apples are not same. Apple itself, today's apple in next moment is different because already composition is changing. Moment to moment, energy is changing. So, that Brahman, which is infinite, of the form of energy, appearing as an object is called Mithya. It's like rope appearing as a snake. There's a rope and I see a snake on that. Now, this appearance is Mithya. On that, an illusion gets added. Illusion's mind comes and says, first level of this thing is called Rupa. What is there, we don't see. The energy form we see is conditioned by sense organs. Sound is conditioned by ears, taste is conditioned by tongue, and senses, eyes are root form is conditioned by eyes. Conditioning happens. And a name is given to the conditioning, which is not real also. Again, name is just for the sake of record. You can think a computer takes a picture and gives a name and a file name and keeps it. Our biological computer takes a photo and keeps a record. Name and form. Name is given by the mind, form is given by sense organs. So any event you recognize by name and form, which is not at all real because it's not related to present moment. It is past memory. And one who does this superposition is the ego, the claimer. Is this much clear? The Mithya part is Brahman, who is nameless, formless, appears as objects of the world with a limited form and name. With limited form because sense organs. That's mithya. Superimposition of name on that is illusion part. Because past memories are superimposed on the present moment. Memory is name and form, recorded name and form. For an example, I meet a person. 10 years back, I had a fight with the person. So now, today I meet the person. The person, what you call it, person has a body, mind, intellect combination, BMI. 10 years back person and today's person are the same. There's continuous change happened in the body, mind, and intellect. Right? But our mind comes back and says, take the photo of 10 years back and superimpose on this photo and says, this person hurt, this person caused a disturbance for me. So then we live in illusion. The present moment reality is covered by the past impressions and past memory. That's called illusion. Is the distinction clear? Mithya is the appearance of Brahman as an object. Illusion is superimposition of past memories on that present moment experience. Jagat is Mithya. So Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya means whenever I see something in the world, that's Brahman only is seen. But Brahman only appears as a conditioned reality, conditioned by sense organs in the mind and memory. Memory condition is called illusion. If I am able to live in the present moment to moment, I have to live with the energy. But we don't live with the energy, we live with the name and form. That's why we live with the illusion, Maya, all the time. A child lives in the present moment, moment to moment. Child has no illusion. Child has a conditioning, but there's no illusion. Superimposition is not there. Name and form doesn't get superimposed there. Sorry, name doesn't get superimposed there. Memory doesn't get superimposed there. No. That is a conditioning. The condition, it is not illusion. So dog sees something. Let's say a tree. The tree appears as different to dog. The tree appears as different to human being. The tree appears as something to a bird. There's a conditioning happening through sense organs. It's called rupa. Rupa is created. Form is created. It is a conditioning of what is there. That's why it's called mithya. Original reality appears as something. Illusion gets created by one more level of supervision. Mind comes and puts the past impressions on that present moment. First is present moment is a conditioned reality. The impressions of past and cover. Then we don't see the reality at all. We are seeing only our memory. Sensory organs create the mithya. Brahman appears as conditioned object. Mind creates illusion, superimposes on that past memories. So we don't live in the present moment, we only live in the past. So the experience of life is different for different beings, depending on their sense organs. 3 beings go to a river. A deva, a bhuta means ghost, and a human being and a deva. The river appears 3 different things to 3 different people. For a human being, the river appears, oh, very nice water. Let me use it for irrigation, make money. Irrigation to make money is superimposition. Mind vasana. River appearing is because of sense organs. For a ghost, oh, what a river, full of blood and urine. Blood and urine is superimposition of memory on water. For a Deva, the same river everywhere appears. What a beautiful place, nature. It's a place to enjoy swimming. So three beings experience life in different ways based on their sense organs and the mind. Yeah, abhyasa. So my mind superimposes on that experience, and that superimposition is called adhyasa. So the conditioning happens through sense organs, superimposition happens by the mind. Now the superimposition causes fear, anxiety, and other inner stress or emotions. So when sense organs meet with an object, there's an experience of non-dual experience, or it's called nameless experience happens. It's a reality. It's a conditioned reality, nameless experience. The naming becomes a superimposition and also creates an illusion. The present moment reality is gone. You live in the past as present. Mithya is used. Mithya on mithya, memory is superimposed. That's called adhyasa. I'll give a rope and snake example. So Vedanta, we give a rope and snake example. There's a rope I see as a snake. Then I'm afraid. The rope is equivalent of Brahman or Satya. Snake is Mithya. The snake comes from the memory, past, gets superimposed on the rope, and it creates the fear. The snake is seen by sense organs. That's a conditioned reality. It's a present moment reality. Gets covered with the past moment experience, past experience. That's called adhyasa, superimposition. The rope appears as a snake. When you see the rope by the sense organs, there's no snake there. It's a oneness experience is there first. Nameless experience is there through sense organs. Of course, it's conditioned, but nameless experience happens. The naming brings the superimposition. Abhyasa. The naming creates a fear. Oh, now it's a snake. So now what happens in case of Gnani? So I told what example is deep sleep, what happens in the child, and what happens in Gnani. So Gnani's experience you have to analyze in waking state. Deep sleep analysis is same for Gnani and Adnani. So Gnani has gone through a discrimination, clear discrimination. Nitya, Anitya, Atma, Anatma, Viveka. What is eternal? What is temporary? Satya, Mithya. Now when he sees some object, let us say a tree, he also sees a conditioned reality. Nameless experience he goes through. Okay. Just like any other person, nameless experience is there when he sees sense organs meet an object. But the naming also happens. This is a tree or this is a me. He has understood Satya and Mithya. So superimposition is not there now. The past reality doesn't superimpose the present moment. He ignores it. With the discrimination, the ignoring happens very rapidly. He does not give. The tree name comes up. He does not treat tree as the experience. He is separating out the current experience, present experience from the past memories. Then he experiences the reality, raw reality of life as it is. Child experiences raw life like it is. See, child experience of life is raw experience of life, raw experience of energy. Not masala added. Name and form is not added. Name is not added. A ignorant person's life is with masala added, called name and form, past memories. A Gnani's life is also raw experience of life. It's called present moment living. No name and form, masala gets added. It is coming, but he knows how to discriminate and ignore in real time. That means as it happens, gets ignored. So then Gnani also knows the conditioned experience by sense organs is nothing but Brahman only. So Gnani experiences Brahman, experiencing Brahman. So that's why Gnani's experience is called Brahmanubhuti. Experience of Brahman, moment to moment. So Gnani's experience, I don't want to call this happiness. Gnani's experience is called Ananda, because he does not experience objects. It's a nameless experience, but consciousness experiencing consciousness, Ananda. Jnani is consciousness, subject is consciousness, object is also existence. Sat and Chit become one in Jnani. That's called Ananda, Sachidananda. In our experience, there is a subject called me and object called world. The me is superimposed by the body and mind. Superimposition happens by the body and mind. My body and mind superimposed on the self. And world is superimposed on the name and form. So Jnani has separated out body, mind, and superimposition. The world is superimposed, name and form is removed by Jnani. How body and mind is superimposed, removed? Nanu, Nanembudu, Nanalla, Ideha, Manabuddhi, Nanalla, Sachidananda Atma, Shivanandani, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am pure consciousness. And the world, name and form is superimposed on the existence. The tree exists, sun exists, moon exists. Actually, existence appears as sun, existence appears as tree, existence appears as moon. That existence is one with consciousness. It's called Sat Chit. Existence is called Sat, Chit is called consciousness. And when Sat and Chit are one, Ananda, Sachidananda. So Jnani experiences the world as Brahman. Brahman experiences itself. It's equal to deep sleep experience. Similar to deep sleep experience. That's why Jnani is always in sleep. This is conscious sleep, Sahaja Samadhi or natural state. Whereas deep sleep is unconscious sleep. Jnani is consciously sleep because objects are not, naming is not happening. The dream is not getting superimposed. The dream is called Maya. So Jnani experiences the entire world as Brahman. His experience is, repeat after me, Akhanda, Ananta, Sanatana, Brahma, Shivoham, 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 Akhanda, Ananta, Sanatana, Brahma, Shivoham, Shivoham. This is the experience of Jnani. So this is non-dual experience again. Non-dual experience is called bliss. And understand bliss, you go to deep sleep state. No absence of objects. So Jnani experiences absence of objects, even the objects appear from sense organs. That's like your confused rope as a snake. After Jnana, you understand it's not snake is not there, rope is there. Then again, when you see this rope, it appears as a snake, then you call this rope only. You don't call it a snake. So Jnani's experience of the world, Brahman appears as the world, name and form is given to the world, then he removes the name and form, then he sees Brahman in every object. That is called, this state is called Padartha Abhavani in Jnana. Absence of objects. Objects also appear as Brahman. Padartha Abhavani is a stage 6 of enlightenment in Sapta Jnana Bhumika. So now next question comes. When Brahman alone is there, why did the subject and object appear? So for that to understand, we have to understand the dream and deep sleep. Deep sleep, I go to sleep, then dream objects appear. Dream tiger appear, dream person appeared. Was there a tiger? Was there a person? No. It was coming from the chitta or memory of the sleeper. The sleeper is called consciousness, Satchidananda. The chitta aspect of that has image of tiger, image of a person. That image gets projected as a dream. Understand? So what happens is the prana, the life force, stirs that image and projects on the screen of consciousness the dream world. Similarly, in the universal consciousness of Ishvara Chitta, the imprint of the universe is available that imprint gets disturbed by or projected using prana, life force, and that appears as mind, body, and the world, subject and object. Similar to what happens in the dream. So what we are experiencing is the waking dream. It's called Maya. We are living in the dream consciousness of universal consciousness, Ishvara. We are objects in the Ishvara's universal consciousness. Now, as an individual, I experience it. Like in dream, I saw a tiger and I got scared. I got afraid. Then afraid gets recorded in memory, individual experience. Similarly, this creation which is projected by Ishvara Srishti, universal consciousness, I as an individual experience, and I'm scared, or I create my own experiences, gets recorded. It's called Jiva Srishti. So this entire thing is clear now. What is non-dual experience? Deep sleep is non-dual experience. Samadhi is non-dual experience. In Samadhi, Gnani goes into state, deep sleep-like state, in the fully waking state. Samadhi is non-dual. Non-dual experience is called Ananda. Whereas child is experiencing oneness. That oneness experience is called nameless experience. Deep sleep experience and Samadhi experience is also nameless experience. But it's called Ananda because consciousness experiencing itself. The child experiences the world is consciousness experiencing itself as objects. So that I call as nameless experience and oneness experience. Child is in bliss. So Gnani experiences the world as consciousness experiences the world, consciousness. It's called Samadhi Sukha, Samadhi Ananda. It's called Ananda. Gnani state is Ananda. Whereas an ordinary man experiences the world as a subject and object, which are mithya, unreal, and there is the illusion. So that experience is called happiness. And the initial experience of all the three, all the four, are nameless experience. Naming brings the mithya and maya, illusion, into reality, illusion. So we don't live our life in reality. Is this clear to all? Anybody has a question on Zoom? Vaniji?
Hari Om, Prabhuji.
Hari Om.
Prabhuji,
it's a long session.
Long session, but very, very good for clarifying doubts.
Okay.
So, in deep sleep, there is abhava experience.
Abhava jnana.
Abhava jnana, that is recorded where? Anta question.
That is recorded in chitta. Chitta is the consciousness.
But chitta will be dormant. Antakarana want it to be dormant, Prabhuji.
The consciousness, manasa, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. There are four functions of consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? These four functions of consciousness. These four functions of consciousness are antakarana, mind. See, understand the functions of consciousness. Understand?
Yeah.
Consciousness functions as antakarana. Manasa, buddhi, ahankara, chitta.
Okay.
Okay. So chitta means chit only, consciousness only. The recording happens in the chitta.
Okay.
Which is nothing but chit.
Okay.
Right? So what happens? The recording, consciousness is never unconscious. Consciousness is functioning all the time. Bhava and abhava, it's observing.
So only the ahankara will be dormant.
Ahankara will be dormant. Manas will be dormant.
The function of ahankara will be dormant.
Chitta will be recording abhava jnana. Chitta is nothing but chit only. Finally, when you get jnana, chitta shuddhi happens. Chitta becomes chit. Chitta is mind, individual mind. Chitta becomes only the chit, consciousness. Okay. In samadhi and atma jnana, brahma jnana.
So, which part is dormant in deep sleep then?
Manas, buddhi, ahankara.
Okay.
Chitta is always anyway memory recording. It's not manifest. Right? Manas, buddhi, ahankara is manifest. Chitta is recording.
Okay.
Take an example of computer. Memory is equal to chitta. The video is like Buddhi, Manasu, Ahankara.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Got it?
Got it, Prabhuji.
Any other
So,
question?
one more question I had.
Okay.
So, Ishvara Srishti is projection of Brahman as the form.
Correct.
And Jiva Srishti is projection of the name and memory.
Name and form. Basically, past projected, past superimposition on the present.
Superimposition of past memory on the present form.
And experiences recorded in terms of past. The present
Okay.
moment is never, Jiva doesn't live in the present moment. Gnani lives in the present moment.
Correct. So only the form, projection of the form is Ishvara Srishti.
Ishvara Srishti has a projection of form.
Okay,
Jiva Srishti is interpretation of the form or impressions of the form.
That I got. So both will happen through the individual Jivas.
Both Ishvara Srishti and Jiva Srishti happens through your body-mind complex.
Okay.
A universal projection also happens through you. Individual projection also happens through you. Individual experience also happens through you. So very simple, Vaniji, if you want to say. God lives in you as you. God experiences himself through you. Through you means I say your body-mind complex. God lives in you as you. What you call as you is not you. What you call as you, no, is not you. Nanu, nanembudu, nanalla, ideha, manabuddhi, nanalla, Sachidananda Atma, Shivanan Nane, Shivoham, Shivam. What I call as I is not I, it's a memory. Real I is Shiva. Understand? God with the name and form becomes Jiva. So there's no independent existence for Jiva. Only God is existing. God lives in you as you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any questions?
Hariam Guruji.
Hariam, who is asking?
Lalita Guruji.
Yes, Lalita, go ahead.
Yeah, Guruji, as I was with the
You are living what? You are what?
Is my audio, am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible, Guruji?
Yes, go ahead.
Because see, as we are doing the open eye meditation also, trying to just watch our thoughts and actions, what we are doing day in and day out. Because initially, when, as you said, it's in the chitta that in the morning when you wake.
Your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear. Lalita, your question is not clear. Huh? Can you type, Lalita? Can you type on chat? Not able to hear the voice.
Oh, am I audible now, Guruji?
You're audible now. Yes.
Now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Initially, when we have a cup of tea or coffee in the morning, it will come up from the chitta because of our past experience that this tea or coffee will make my day.
Yeah.
That this will keep me happy.
Right.
But now, when we are continuously meditating, like just being in the present moment, not being carried away by our past impressions from the chitta.
Right.
Now, because initially when I didn't have a cup of coffee or tea in the morning, after a couple of seconds, again and again, my mind wants that cup of tea and coffee to keep me awake.
Yeah.
And again, it will ask for that cup of coffee because that is coming from the past impressions, right, Guruji? It is coming from the past.
Coffee wasana.
But now, when you are aware all the time what is happening in the thought, why this impressions and these vasanas are coming again and again and asking for that cup of tea and coffee, and when you are ignoring, after an hour or so, that is being gone. You are not craving for the tea and coffee again.
Right. What is the question?
So, is it what you are saying that because the Triputi, because we name it after the experience and we feel that this cup of tea is giving me happiness, so I'm craving for it.
Correct.
Because when I experience,
So basically, whatever is coming from chitta is not real.
yes,
You give a reality to that, then again it goes back. Reality is given in the form of raga and dvesha. I like and I dislike. If you are sakshi, the reality is not given to what is there in chitta. So what comes from chitta, vasana and samskara, they appear into consciousness and disappear. They will go away. Whereas if you give importance to that, either raga and dvesha, I like or dislike, so it's given as reality.
yes,
The reality goes back into chitta. So if you don't give importance to that, you become sakshi, then it's called chitta shuddhi. Gradually chitta gets emptied out.
yes, this I could experience, because now for couple of days or couple of weeks, no craving for tea or coffee as such, because I'm just watching my thoughts.
Okay.
And I'm just ignoring, and if I have to have, I
So
will
this
have,
has
but
to happen
not
to
the
all
crave.
vasanas. This coffee tea vasana
Yes,
has to become all aspects of life. Then it's called chitta becomes chit, consciousness, Brahman.
yes, that is the question I had. But the fear of that street dog, which has been strong impression in my mind when I'm walking on the street and when I see two dogs, then there also I am witnessing the thought that it has fear, but still I'm not able to overcome that.
I'm saying that
That means it is
chitta shuddhi has to happen gradually, because you have to learn how to live in the reality. The moment you see the dog, fear comes because you are going to the past actually. You are not living in the present moment.
yes, yes.
Present moment, dog is not
Because
dog.
that
Present moment, dog is not dog. Lalita is not Lalita. Both are energy.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So because of the past impressions or the story which are there in the memory, that the dog, it had bit somebody and they had to go and get that,
Those
and
stories
all
come up,
that in the impression and
then you don't
come
see
up,
the dog.
and that fear is coming up.
Then the fear comes up, and then you don't see the dog. You only see the memory.
See the memory and the fear. And
Yeah,
the
fear
fear,
will come.
and that is the reason the energy, I'm not able to take one step forward because the fear has overtaken me at that
If
point of
chitta shuddhi
time.
happens, that fear will also
So,
come.
so gradually will this also we can overcome, Guruji? Gradually will this also
Everything.
being in the present moment?
I'm saying to the extent possible, chitta shuddhi, let it happen. Now, don't make it very hard.
Okay.
I'm saying,
Just
don't make it
try
very
to
hard.
be in the present moment most of the time.
Be
Not
in
to
present
think
moment.
about anything.
Dog getting afraid, don't worry, leave it to the dog. But husband coming, don't be afraid. Wherever it matters, just let it happen. Are we clear?
Yes, yes. So it is like
To the extent,
not
don't
getting anything carried away by the.
don't become fanatic.
Yes, yes.
Let whatever chitta shuddhi happen. Don't become very clean. Like that's become fanatic. Gradually, chitta shuddhi happen.
Yes. So what the present thing, only sadhana at the moment is try to be in the present moment. Most of the time, just watch the thoughts, watch your actions. Don't get carried away by the past. Don't get anxious about the future or the next moment. Just keep doing, because the prarabdha will let this will happen.
But whatever
And
prarabdha comes like
be the
movie.
witness and sakshi.
That's all. That's what you have to do.
Just be a sakshi.
Yeah.
Just be a sakshi for whatever is happening and don't get cling to it. Is what? Then there is no triputi. That is what it is. No, Guruji.
That's right. Correct. You are right.
Yes. Oh, okay, good.
Simple answer.
Yes,
Live
Guruji.
in the present moment, not in your mental world.
Yes.
Okay. Gnani or enlightened being lives in the present moment, moment to moment. Child lives in the present moment, moment to moment.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And moment to moment is not based on the memory, it's based on the energy.
Yes.
So, okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Any question on YouTube?
Hariom, Prabhuji.
Hariom, who is speaking?
Nasim.
Huh?
Nasim.
Yes, Nashimurti.
Prabhuji, this is regarding the child and the Jivatma has the knowledge. In the case of child, the only absence is the definition of the names, and there is no anchoring in the child.
Correct.
In the case of Jivatma who has the knowledge, he is anchored with that.
Okay. So,
Uh, the effect of child, that is what is happening in the absence of naming, same experience can be experienced with that anchoring. Is that correct, Prabhuji?
what is the anchoring you're speaking of? Which anchoring?
Jivat, I mean, without that anchoring,
No, what is the anchoring? Which anchoring are you asking?
the true self.
If you are anchored to true self, it's like a Gnani only. Then you are not Jivatma. It's Gnani only.
Jivatma with Jnana, I said.
Jivatma with Gnani is Gnani only. So it
Yes,
is the
yes,
present moment. The same thing.
yes,
That's what I speak of Gnani.
yes.
So if there are any more questions, if there are no more questions, we'll close this question and I'll take up the next question.
Hari Om Prabhuji.
Hari Om Mani.
In Padartha Abhavani, you said that very quickly Triputi will arise, but the Jnani will ignore and that layer does.
From Triputi also will not arise.
That's what, because
It
while
is like a child
talking
only.
in Jivan Mukti Viveka, you had said Padartha Bhavani, Triputi will stop arising.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om, who is speaking?
Satyavati.
Satyavati, yes, go ahead.
So we are using these terms, pure experience, non-dual experience in deep sleep. So it's for the teaching purpose and for understanding purpose, we are using this term experience, because the moment we say experience, there has to be two. Otherwise, there is only experiencing happening, Galva.
Correct. The words are used only for communicating.
Okay.
There's only experiencing happening.
Yes,
So,
and when Maniji asked the question, you said that it is all recorded. Chitta is not dormant. So the same thing, like in individual Jivatma, Chitta is not dormant. So even in the universal consciousness, that Ishvara's Chitta also is actually active, recording every Jivatma's.
yeah. It's a continuous activity.
Okay, thank you.
Bhavadnana, Abhavadnana.
Correct.
So the using a word called experience also is not correct. I can say experiencing happens. In consciousness, sound experiencing happens, touch experiencing happening, smell experiencing happening, taste experiencing happening, they disappear. So the happening, appearing and disappearing is mithya. What is satya is only knowing or awareness or sakshi behind that is satya.
Yeah, all the time it is only the knowing which is happening.
Knowing alone is there.
Yes. Because
And
there is no noun, only verb.
No noun, only verb. And also, I said coffee ananda, coffee, happiness of coffee. So actually, our life is completely ananda only. Momentarily, happiness appears and disappears because we associate happiness with objects. Otherwise, we are ananda swarupa only.
Correct.
Okay. So let us close this question.